The morning rush at Millie's Diner was always the same. Locals came in for their coffee, over-easy eggs, and the comfort of routine. Claire, a 28-year-old waitress with a tired smile and a sharp memory, worked the early shift every day. She knew every order by heart, refilled coffee before being asked, and managed to fake a cheerful, "Good morning," even when her feet ached. But every day at 7:10 a.m., one thing broke the routine. A quiet boy in a worn hoodie slipped into booth 3 by the window. He never ordered much, sometimes just toast, sometimes nothing. He always came alone, always sat in silence, and left without drawing attention. Claire noticed. She noticed the frayed cuffs on his sleeves, how he avoided eye contact, how his stomach growled when someone nearby ordered bacon one. Rainy morning, she walked over, holding a plate of pancakes. "This one's on the house," she whispered, setting it down in front of. The boy looked up at her, startled. I didn't order." "I know," she smiled. "Eat before it gets cold." He hesitated, then picked up the fork like he hadn't eaten in days. That became their unspoken ritual. Every morning, Claire would place a plate in front of him. Sometimes eggs, sometimes a sandwich. She never asked questions. He never offered answers. But he always said thank you, with eyes full of something deeper than words. "The other waitresses noticed you running a soup kitchen now," one joked. Claire shrugged, "Kids hungry." "That's all." For 3 weeks, it continued. Claire even started packing a sandwich in foil and slipping it into his hoodie pocket before he left. No one knew his name. No one saw where he came from or where he went. But Claire looked for him every morning, and he never missed a day. Then one Monday, something changed. At 7 a.m., the diner's parking lot echoed with the sound of engines. Claire looked up from the counter just in time to see 4 black SUVs pulling in, their tinted windows glinting under the morning sun. She felt her stomach drop. "What the hell," one cook muttered, peeking out the kitchen window. The door swung open. A tall man in a suit stepped inside, followed by 3 others. They didn't sit. They scanned the room like they were looking for someone, and they were headed straight for Claire. Claire instinctively stepped back as the men approached, her heart hammering. The tall one with salt and pepper hair and a no-nonsense stare stopped in front of the counter. His suit was crisp, expensive. His presence filled the room like a thundercloud. "Are you Claire Bennett?" he asked, voice calm but firm. She blinked. Yes, that's me." The man gave a subtle nod, and one of the others stepped forward and handed her a small envelope. From the boy, he said. Claire took it, confused. Her fingers trembled as she tore it open. Inside was a single note written in shaky but careful handwriting. "Thank you for feeding me when I had nothing. You were the only kind face I saw. I had to go, but they know now. You're safe." Claire's breath caught. "What? What is this?" she whispered. The tall man softened just slightly. "The boy you helped, his name is Joshua, and he's not just any boy." Claire looked up, eyebrows furrowed. He continued, "Joshua is the son of Jonathan Kingsley." That name hit her like a brick. Billionaire, tech magnate, private jets, headlines. The cook behind her dropped a spatula. "You mean the Kingsley?" The man nodded. "Joshua went missing 3 weeks ago, slipped away from security while traveling. The family was frantic. No ransom, no messages. Just vanished." Claire's knees felt weak. She grabbed the edge of the counter. "He was here. Every day. He never said who he was. He wouldn't," the man said. "He's quiet, keeps to himself. But he watched you. He trusted you." Claire stared down at the note again. The words blurred. "Mr. Kingsley would like to speak with you," the man added. Privately, she hesitated. "Now he's outside." Claire walked around the counter, dazed. As the door opened, a warm breeze swept in. The SUVs were still idling, engines humming, and standing beside the first one was a man in his early 50s, dressed simply in jeans and a button-up shirt. Jonathan Kingsley. He looked nothing like the media tycoon in magazines. He looked like a father worn thin. He stepped forward. "You must be Claire." She nodded, too stunned to speak. He held out his hand. "You saved my son's life." Claire shook his hand, still trying to process what was happening. Jonathan Kingsley, one of the richest men in the country, was standing in her parking lot, thanking her. The moment felt too big, too surreal. "I didn't even know who he was," Claire said softly. "He looked hungry. That's all. Jonathan's jaw tightened. That's exactly why it matters. He motioned for her to follow him to the SUV. The doors opened, and she was ushered into the back seat, sitting across from him. The vehicle smelled like leather and cologne, nothing like the grease and coffee of her diner. The contrast made her feel even more out of place. He leaned forward, elbows on his knee. Joshua ran away because of me. I was too busy, too controlling. I thought I was protecting him, but really I was just making him feel trapped. Claire didn't know what to say. I had hundreds of people searching, spared no expense. But you just gave him a meal and a warm place to sit. I didn't do it for thanks, she said quickly. He needed help, and you gave it. Without asking anything in return, Claire glanced out the window, her hands clenched in her lap. Is he okay? Jonathan nodded. Yes. We found him early this morning, not far from here. He's with his mother now. But before he agreed to come back, he made us promise one thing. She looked back at him. He wanted us to find you, to thank you. He said you were the only adult who didn't try to control him or use him. You just cared. Claire swallowed hard. She hadn't realized how deeply her small actions had affected the boy. Jonathan reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded document. We'd like to offer you something. A chance to manage your own cafe, fully funded, anywhere you want. My team will handle the logistics. It's yours. Claire blinked. What? No, I don't. I didn't do this for. You didn't. That's why it matters, he said. Let us give back. She stared at the offer in her hands. It felt unreal. The girl who once struggled to pay rent now held a future she'd never even dared to dream of. But what about Joshua? She asked finally. He wants to see you. Jonathan replied. He's been asking for you since the moment we found him. Claire felt her throat tighten. Then Jonathan gently smiled. Would you come with me to see him? The SUV rolled down a long gravel driveway, bordered by tall pines. The Kingsleys had rented a private estate on the outskirts of town for privacy, while the media storm died down. As they approached the house, Claire's nerves kicked in. She didn't know what to say to the boy. She'd only known him as the quiet kid in the hoodie. Now he was the heir to a billion-dollar empire, and she was just a waitress. The SUV stopped, and Jonathan opened the door for her. He's in the back garden. Claire stepped out, heart pounding, and followed a stone path that led around the house. There, beneath a large oak tree, sat Joshua. He wore clean clothes, now gray sweatpants and a hoodie with no holes, but he still sat the same way, hunched a little, hands in his lap, eyes distant. When he saw her, he stood for a moment. They just looked at each other. Then Joshua smiled small, unsure, but real. I didn't think you'd come, he said. Claire walked over slowly. Of course I did, he nodded, swallowing hard. I missed the diner. She chuckled. It missed you, too. Booth 3 looked empty without you. Joshua looked down at his shoes. Thank you. For the food, for not asking questions, for treating me normal. You are normal, she said gently. You were just going through something hard. Everyone does. He glanced at her, eyes glossy. I didn't think adults like you existed. Claire sat beside him on the wooden bench. We're out there. Just quiet. Like you? A silence fell between them, comfortable this time. After a minute, he asked, Are you really going to open your own cafe? I'm thinking about it, she replied. But only if you promise to visit. Joshua grinned. Deal later. When she returned to the diner, her coworkers stared like she'd stepped off a spaceship. Word was already spreading. But Claire didn't care about the whispers. She just picked up a coffee pot and started her shift like always. 2 weeks later, a new sign went up downtown. Claire's Corner Cafe. Warm meals, warmer hearts. And every Saturday morning at exactly 9 a.m., Booth 3 by the window was reserved for a quiet boy named Joshua and the waitress who saved him without asking for a thing.